Hello everyone, this is Dr. V.V.Kamesh, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, Aditya University, Surampalem. In this lecture, we would like to know about the difference between the machine and a mechanism. In the introductory part of the kinematics of machinery, initially we need to know what is a machine and what is a mechanism, right? So, in our daily life, we will come across a wide variety of machines. It can be a sewing machine, or it can be a cycle or a motor car, right? So, the power of the engine is transmitted to the wheels with the help of the different mechanisms. If you visit the LPG gas filling plant or a bottling plant anywhere, almost all the functions are done by making use of the mechanisms, right? So, you are moving, some iron rod is moving like this. So, something is there, some process will be there. So, again this part will be moved like this, and some part will be kept on the conveyor belt. So, the belt is moving and some other item is picking that and placing somewhere. Like this you are having so many functions, right? So, these are all very few examples. Generally, whatever the manual handling in industries, it has been reduced to the minimum, right? And now in engineering, mechanical engineering mainly, the mechanisms and machines are two very common and frequently used the terms. We shall start with the simple definition. What is what? Machine. A machine is a mechanism or a collection of several mechanisms which transmits a force from power source to the resistance to be overcome, and thereby it performs useful mechanical work. So, you remember one thing. So, this is a mechanism or collection of several mechanisms, right? So, there is no division between the mechanism and a machine. So, mechanisms are integral part of a machine, right? So, mechanism means simply you can replace the word with function, right? Just like the human body is a machine, right? And what are the functions? Heart function, lung function, kidney function, right? If all these are there, then only the machine will work. That means the human body will move, right? Just similar to that. It is a collection of several mechanisms which transmits force from power source to the resistance to be overcome, and thereby it performs, see the last dialogue, useful mechanical work, right? So, whenever I am applying some force, definitely there should be some moment somewhere, and that moment will enable some useful work, right? The work may be movement of a tool or writing of a tool, cutting, right, or painting or welding, something, some useful work, right? A common type of example is the commonly used internal combustion engine. The burning of petrol or diesel in the cylinder results in a force on the piston which is transmitted to the crank to result in driving torque. Generally, by applying the kick rod or something, some button, we are making the fuel to be ignited, right? By burning the fuel, energy will be released. This energy will make the piston to move. So, this piston will move the flywheel. The movement of the flywheel is coming into the driving. Okay. Now, the basic difference between the machine and mechanism. So, if the system is used with the objective of transmitting mechanical energy, it is called a machine, right? So, machine means simply we are dealing with the item in a macro sense, right? But mechanism, if the objective is to transfer or transform the motion without considering the forces involved, the system is said to be a mechanism. That means, this is actually the pure kinematic part. Just only we are considering if it is moving to the left, what will happen? If it is moving 5 degrees or 10 degrees, what will happen, right? So, without considering the force, got a point. So, generally the kinematics in layman language you can understand, it is related to geometry. Now, the second difference you can make, every machine has to transmit the motion because mechanical work is associated with the motion and thus makes use of mechanisms. By using the mechanisms only, a machine will be made. Next one, the mechanism is concerned with the transfer of motion only. So, it may be a rectilinear, it may be curvilinear, or it may be a rotation, or it may be a general plane motion, which is a combination of the translation plus rotation, right? And the third difference you can observe, a machine can use one or more than one mechanism to perform the desired function. That is, serving machine has several mechanisms. Here you can take the serving machine or any other drilling machine, welding machine, so many, right? or otherwise you can take the shaper, you can take the planner, right? Any machine you can take, it is considering with so many mechanisms, right? Now, what is mechanism purely? It is not the case with the mechanisms. A mechanism is a single system to transfer or transform motion. Suppose I am taking a 4-bar mechanism like this, right? So, this is one link. Just to remember that this is one scale, this is another scale, this is the third scale. So, making some joint. Suppose I am moving the scale rotated like this to the right side. So, generally this will also move. Okay. So, it is moving to the right side. So, there will be some transfer movement like this. Okay. So, this is the moment without considering the force. So, with how much force I am moving, it is immaterial. If it is moving to the right side, what will happen, right? So, this is called the mechanism. Now, there will be the third one, the important concept is structure. It is an assemblage of the number of resistant bodies known as members, or you can have the links having no relative motion between them and meant for carrying loads having straining action. A railway bridge, a roof truss, machine frames, these are example of a structure. So, if you are having some links, so these links are being attached to each other or connected, attached or connected, whatever you call, right? So that you are having two choices. One is, if you are having the moment, you call it as a machine. No moment, you call it as a structure. Got the point? So, if you move one of the link, if the other, any other link starts moving, it is called a machine, right? If no other link is responding, whatever the link you are applying is only making some straining action, right? You are applying some pressure. So, this link only slightly bending, but no other links is responding, then it is called a structure, right? So, the following differences between a machine and a structure are important from the subject point of view. You observe the parts of the machine move relative to one another, whereas the members of the structure do not move relative to one another. A machine transforms the available energy into some useful work, whereas the structure has no energy transformed into useful work, right? I will show you one example of a structure, then you can understand very easily. The links of the machine may transmit both power and motion, but the members of the structure transmit forces only. Now, you can observe this. So, you are looking on the first two images, these are shaper, right? This is one view, this is side view, okay? This is the front view we are seeing, this is from the side I am observing like this, right? But there is a third image, I can call this figure number 3, right? Now, what is this? This is not looking in the first diagram or the second diagram, right? So, you are observing the tool of this shaper. Now, you are looking here, here I am having in the red circle, I am having the tool. So, the movement of the shaper tool to move forward and backward, right? So, in the forward direction, cutting is to be there, but in the backward direction, there is no cutting, empty tool is coming back, right? So, to minimize the time waste, what we will do? In the cutting action, right, it will move with one velocity, but without doing any work, it has to come back with high speed. So, speed has to be increased while it is coming empty, right? So, while doing the work, it is okay. If it is not doing any work, why it is to come slow to the back, end position to the front position? So, the speed has to be increased. So, for this, we need to use some mechanism, right? If you don't use any mechanism, right? So, in the forward direction, it will take 10 minutes. In the backward direction, the tool will return to the original position to perform the second cutting by having a time gap 10 minutes again. So, it is a time waste, complete waste. So, for this, to minimize the time of coming back to the original position with the empty tool, right, we are using one mechanism. This is, we used to call it as quick return motion mechanism. Got it? So, the mechanism means in the figure 3 we are seeing, now you can see this is the shaper tool, right. So, where you are able to see all this one, all this, these are inside, right. So, these are all the links and these are all the joints, okay. So, what is the stroke? and what is the return stroke. So, while cutting is done, it is called the forward stroke. If there is no cutting, it is called return stroke, right. So, the forward stroke is with one velocity, the return stroke with another velocity, right. Now, you can see in the two diagrams, one is a machine. So, here some forces are being transformed, that this wheel will be rotating, right. So, there is a useful work is done, right. So, forces will be created or applied at one end and they are useful and observed at another end. But now you are seeing in this one, on the right side you are seeing some bridge, or this you can call it as a truss, right. On the truss you can apply some force from the top side, okay. So, the forces will be distributed like this, okay. Even after applying the high amount of the force, this will not be bending like this. So, actually this will be like this, okay. Even if you apply so many forces, it will not rotate like this, right. If it is rotating, it is not called as a structure, because this is able to resist. So, this is called as a structure, right. So, it is able to withstand the force, right. Now, you can observe some mechanisms. Sewing machine, everybody know, right. In a tailor shop, you are able to see some sewing machine. So, the sewing machine, so how the stitching will be done, right. So, you can see this video. So, this is the hand pump video. So, this is also by means of some mechanism, right. So, we are arranging some walls and by means of the movement of some links, so water will be lifted. Now, you can see this is the how a sewing machine will work. So, you can see this video. This is taken from the YouTube. So, the thread you can take and how the needle is taking the thread and how the stitching will be done. So, this is one mechanism. Generally, we used to call it the sewing machine mechanism, how the stitching will be done. Right. So, by seeing the sewing machine video and hand pump, you are able to observe that each and every need of the human being, it can be made fruitful by applying some mechanical energy transmissions through some links and forces, okay. So, at the end, the student can differentiate between a machine and mechanism very clearly. So, in one way or the other, very clearly, machine is a collection of mechanisms, right. So, the main heart of any machine is the mechanism, right. Thank you.